Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello. We are on our Friday night lights. So,
That's right.
today we're going to have a special night. Spooky stories, haunted houses, paranormal activities. Hello and welcome. It's our show with a little bit of spooky tonight. And welcome everybody who's already in here.
Good crowd already. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. You ever notice the scariest part is when you try to set up Google Hangouts right with the right windows and they never work out. They never work out, and it gets scary because it's all going to hell in a handbag, but you're laughing at it.
So bad. Oh my god. Well, hi and hello. Shout out to everybody who is here, and may the fourth be with you as well.
That's true. This is true.
Hello to ATJH Travels. Hello to Stephanie. I hope you are brave enough to be today in. I know you're still at work probably.
I'll take sure.
And that's why it's not scary. Brother Dan is in. Irvin the Paid Forest, Fast CSX, Raven Rain Books. Everybody says Mill of Road Adventure, Roundhouse, Ranch Barbecue, Terrell Emerson, and a few other ones still hiding, spooky behind. Who are you? Come on. Or we're gonna hunt you down. Well, paranormal activities don't choose their timing. Yes, they might be more escalated at Halloween time, as Battlefield says. But they're always there. And why not?
Google Hangouts scary.
Well, you see, if to come out clean with all the cards out, I am a very big believer in all the spooky, paranormal things. And some of them, yes, are faked on video, but I do, in general, feel that there is this next or different dimension. And on the contrary, Andrew doesn't feel like that at all. So today we're going to play a little bit of opposites and see where we end up. Either maybe I won't believe it anymore, or you are going to.
That's possible. And neither here nor there. I don't like terms like, I'm not saying, it's this or that. I think I'm just a person who's going to need a lot of proof, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate what our guests do tonight. I mean, I admire anybody with passion, and believing in something is believing in something. And it's true, like anything bigger than you. I mean, anybody who has faith and religion or whatever, not to compare it, because I know some people frequently say go, it's just the power to believe in something that takes more out of you to connect with. And I think maybe sometimes I'm just jealous of people like that because I have trouble letting go.
And for those of you who are wondering why we are in a spooky Well, today we have a special guest later on coming on, PANICdVideos.com, and you might know them, PANICdVideos on YouTube. There are a couple that have a extensive database based on evidence from other ghostbusters and from themselves visiting different places, registering database of registered places and activities in all across the board.
Yeah.
And today they're going to be talking about these places. And we're going to be hearing different spooky stories and maybe some haunted houses, and maybe there is some haunted house right beside you.
Hey, look, Coriolis effect, but you have competition now.
If you have an experience of paranormal activities, you are welcome to share your story and ask questions to our guests later on when they're going to come on. And that's why we are in the spooky mood today. Ooh, this is even better. I like that.
Yep, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I think we'll keep this for that. Maybe we'll keep this long term. Actually, I kind of like this.
Make it spooky all the
Yeah,
time.
that's right. That's right. And tonight we're talking with Bulls of the Cloud. We'll keep it all still spooky like this. Why not? There. She wants her Beanie Babies.
Oh, well, yes, definitely. You need your Beanie Baby. So you are not at work then, or you could get...
I was typing to her all of a sudden.
Ah.
If you can hear us, Steph, please reach out to us through the keyboard and let us know that you're there.
Midnight Raven says, as a goth, this is right in my comfort.
Yes. Yeah.
Zone. Yeah, I like this lighting too.
Yeah.
By the way, if you can drop in and expand a little bit more, are you a believer or not? And get your stories ready. We would like to hear them all. I'm getting very excited on that one.
Joe Z said he can't be in too long because the chickens need to be fed and everything. So I'm glad you could pop by.
Yeah.
That is appreciated. First. That's right. We always say that. Real life first. Very loud fire alarms. Now, there is a channel handle, if any I've ever seen one. Hello to you. I like your handle. I have to go and look.
Raven Rainbow says that she has had encounters. Well, get your stories ready. I'm sure our paranormal activity people would really want to know more about it.
Guys, like I said, this is a channel we don't do support sub for sub, talk anything about groups, off the table completely. But I will say this, if you want an interesting channel support, because I just went and looked, and I'm definitely checking this out later, very loud fire alarms is something you should look into, because it literally stands up to the name. It seems to be about fire alarms, so. But Andrew, your background is beautiful. Thank you. I like it. Does it look really pixelated, guys? Like, because of the noise, because of the low light?
I do look like a ghost.
Oh, this is not your night, Philip? Okay, well, this is not your thing. Alrighty, no problem. Well, thank you so much for stopping in. It is much, much, much appreciated. The Halloween scary stuff music in the background. No, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Bottle Caps.
That's better.
You always got my back.
Oh. By the way, we're not going to be talking only about the spooky and the paranormal stuff. It's the main activity that our guests are doing, but I'm sure as everybody else's channels here, it's not just the only thing that they are doing. We would like to know more about their backgrounds, and who knows, maybe there's going to be some exciting and surprising things that we're going to discover.
And Google Hangouts. Not working.
Don't mess around with paranormal. Yeah, I was taught. I totally look like a ghost there, like a white and all that. I know. I never have tried, for example, those boards where you can
Ouija boards.
Ouija boards, yeah. But you can call the ghosts out, because I was always told that you don't mess with it. Once you call it out, you don't know how to put it back, and then it's stuck here and causes trouble. We used to have this big book of magic of old Latvian like magic curse words and all that stuff. and Mom hid it always in like a deepest shelf under 500 layers of clothes because she said that the book itself exudes the energy of black magic, and it's not good. One, even if you do use it, it has to be with a very big care because it always will come back to you yourself. So I am very careful with that. I don't. I like the stories, but I don't fool around with that because I do believe that you're not supposed to bother the one that has passed away. So.
Raven Books said she reached 900 supporters today.
Yes, and excellent. I congratulated her from both of us on Twitter today.
Very good job. Good for you guys.
Congratulations again. Josie is in as well today.
I just said, remember, I said can't stay too long. Gotta go feed chickens.
That's right. Well, he's still here.
Well, the chickens go wait for a few minutes. We're glad to have any time we can get.
Militia Petkovic.
Wow, that's a nice name.
I would assume.
You can say something in Russian if you want.
Well, I'm not going to assume that they are Russian.
But it's just to take a chance.
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
Москва.
That's from the language thing. You'd start off every day. What is it called? The language program, the big one that everybody uses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. That's what it's. Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
That's right.
Спасибо.
Yeah, пожалуйста. Geeks General Ectoplasm Exposition Knowledge Society finally is here too. Just one part of them.
You're not moderators yet. Oh, we got to fix that one right away.
They are very closely involved in all of what we just talked about as well. So it's great to have another side of it, an input in the chat as well.
It is. I agree with you. What do you take? Yeah. Google Hangouts. Well, any returning customer has been here for any little bit always gets the fast CSX either. And there we go. There, see, there's paranormal activity right there. They're all turning into moderators.
The chat is glitched and it won't fix. What's wrong with the chat?
No.
Or it's a joke.
Yeah.
I so love this dark, spooky atmosphere. Yeah, I like it
fun.
Too.
It's really, like, on all seriousness, it's like, this might be better than the other stuff. Like, or just even normal nights.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe the light up just a little bit more, but not too much, but
since we are in the evening show.
That's right. I like it.
It feels they're so slow. It's like they're frozen in time.
I know. Can't seem to get in gear. It's congrats, Marcel, on getting to 1,200. Good job. Excellent. Another round of applause.
Yes, exactly. It's great to tell, as I was saying last night, it's great to tell ghost stories, like we used to do when we were kids with the flashlight under the blanket, In a small house, in a small room, there was a small box, and in that small box, and then small bird. Don't remember that story. So much fun. So yes, exactly. Even if you don't believe it, I'm sure as kids, everybody has heard some of these stories or at least done something with it. So, thank you for spending your Friday with us. We really appreciate all the support. By the way, a little word about yesterday for those of you who haven't come to our channel yesterday. You missed an amazing live stream yesterday with Juliet Miranda. She's a host of podcast The Unwritable or Unwritable Rant. Amazing live interview about 80s music. She has interviewed everybody from Bon Jovi to Kiss producer. When she was a journalist, she's still interviewing, but now on her podcast as well. She has amazing stories, and she knows a lot of stuff about bourbon. So if you are interested in that, I'm going to definitely go back and check. It's a new window to a podcast community. We're welcoming the podcast community with open arms to YouTube. And that was our welcoming live stream for them.
Yep.
So check that out if you haven't yet. Cave creature, love you. Oh,
Yeah.
there. Cave creature. I like your
Cave Creature's been here before.
yeah, but I like the ghost thing.
Yeah.
Bird thing.
Hmm.
Wow, just found out on this show.
What is the painting? Oh, everybody asked that question. Yeah. I should have gone because that one, everybody asked. That's a picture of Ljubljana in Slovenia. And it's a picture I took while traveling. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and you can see a bigger version of it on the latest video that Andrew uploaded
Yes.
this Sunday. The latest living photo series video is up and running on our channel, and this is included in that as well.
Unless he's talking about the little one, because I forget about that now.
Yeah, is that the little one that you're talking about? Because now we have two things to talk about. Okay.
Nathan's here.
Yeah, Nathan is here. And yes, Marcel, we still have to get in touch about those paintings. So we'll have to do some collab with that. You got 1,200.
Yep.
Congratulations. That's awesome. That's awesome. I like that it's a nice side bonus of hanging out with us and our amazing people here.
This is, what was that? Yeah.
No, that was my coffee.
Oh my God almighty. There's something else. Oh.
Tomorrow I have a special video. On Sunday, definitely a cool video. Perfect. We're going to be checking it out.
Who's
Just Cave Creature.
Excellent.
If you want to let us know about your newest videos or something special going on your channel, you can always tweet at us at Puša Studios. And it's going to be the surest way to let us know about it, because unfortunately YouTube is not as reliable on giving notifications. So if you want to have a special shout out or there's something really special going on, tweet at us or message if it's something private. But you can definitely tweet at us, and we will try and retweet if possible.
This is true. And
definitely check it out ourselves too.
Yep.
You know, I truly do believe that videos in YouTube, unless spread word about them is like things in a box. It's, you know, they're there, but nobody knows what's in there. You got to open it up and show it to people a little bit to get some traction. Unless you're doing it for yourself, and then might as well keep it all private. So either use Twitter or maybe something else, or maybe you're just telling everybody in your neighborhood to come and watch it. Whatever works for you is great. But we're using Twitter, and I think if you're using it, we can connect there too.
Twitter.
You are tweeting, yes, Bottle Caps.
Bottle Caps is the Twitter master now. That's good. I'm glad to see you've been adopting to it now. Good for you.
Are your kids spooked out about tonight? Well, our little one said, "Oh, that's spooky."
Yeah.
And the middle child is quite excited. He loves all that stuff. He loves Stephen King novels, like he's reading them like this, one after another, because he loves them so much. So he definitely is interested in all that stuff.
Bottle Cap, just me and my dog watching here. Well, that's a good map.
What about your dinner tonight? What did you make tonight? Is it raining on your side there?
Bottle Caps, you don't know how to use it? Go on YouTube and write how to use Twitter, and you'll find probably 2 million videos to show you, to walk you right through it. We make videos on YouTube. Remember, all kinds of people make videos on YouTube, and almost, I'd say half of them at this point are how-tos and all the things that we use. So
yeah, it's the second biggest search engine after Google. We might think that it's YouTube is a video, portal, so to say, website or platform, but it actually is a search engine.
Oh, let's see, because we usually do the Steam. Yeah, look at that.
Can I see?
I think so. I can see it on the screen here, so that is cool.
Yeah, we should just put the bowls of hot water there.
Get right on that. That sounds like a good. Nothing bad could happen with that, with a bunch of laptops around and everything.
And my God.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan. Oh my God almighty. So we're on Twitter, right?
Timmy, the animatronic girl. I love that. Hello.
That's a cool name.
Welcome. to our channel. Storm rolling through here, extra creepy for a night. Yeah, I was thinking like that too because Lower Ontario today had a storm watch and warning and tornado warning. They were going through. I think the biggest registered was in Hamilton, 135 kilometers an hour today.
Yeah.
And they, like, if you look and search on Twitter, hashtag on storm, ON, like Ontario storm, you're going to see there's some damage in some places in Lower Ontario, but and it's slowly it's moving here. We're supposed to have around 90 kilometers an hour today, so hopefully we're not going to have electricity out during our live stream. But I thought about that as well. I thought, how fitting is that? Storm brewing and starting tonight when we were talking about this. But as Andrew would say, it's just a coincidence. So, well. I'm so shocked. I never expected. I've gone up 200 in less than 2 weeks. Yes. And there are plateau levels, I find, like with our channels too. But really, the more subscribers you have, the more you are gaining as well. It's kind of a rolling snowball.
Like 42 to 500 went really quick. Then 500 to 750 was a snail's pace, it felt like. Then 750 to 1,000 went really good. 1,000 to 1,250 was pretty slow, and 1,250 to over 14 was, you're going to go through those ups and downs. And I had some big spikes, and when I go back and look. But yeah, I find the small to 400 or 500 is probably the fastest most people grow in a short amount of time. Yeah, sure, definitely. Ask away. Very loud fire alarms.
Below the big one, yes. Well, this is a very special picture. A week ago, last Sunday. No, let me not burn this. A week ago, last Sunday, Doodle by Dogs made a doodle of us.
And we're very, very proud of that.
It was a special dedication live where he was showing how he was making this doodle. And that's Andrew, and that's me.
He said, Bottle Cap said to turn the lights up. It's hard on his eyes.
Oh, honey.
You're so amazing, Bottle Caps.
One request at a time. I already got rid of my music here, so I was so excited for paranormal effects sounds. Good thing that it's not a rooster or something.
Oh my god, already.
Well, I'm excited because 2 other booktubers have agreed to do a collab with me on a series, and I'm starting on my channel. That's great. That's amazing. The collaborations is what it's so great about this. We get to know each other's channels, and get to collab. This is what's so great. And it even expands beyond YouTube, and other social channels as well as in life, with some of them, especially the ones that are in Canada here for us. So I'm very happy to hear that. If it was Halloween show, the music would be appropriate.
It's exactly. Thank you,
It is a paranormal activity show. It doesn't appear only on Halloween. They don't appear just on Halloween. Halloween is a commercialized show. It has nothing to do. By the way, it's Cinco de Mayo today. So, ha, gotcha. Yes. So very appropriate. If that's what you're talking about. So, force be with you, Cinco de Mayo, whichever goes, it is appropriate.
There, we'll get some more sound effects going.
Did you do something different with your hair? Who are you asking, Mrs. or Mr.? By the way, Reese yesterday proposed a very, a quite crazy idea. He said, while I was on, you're distracting me. You done? No. Okay. Reese proposed for us, because we can't extinguish which one is where. He proposed to have a Mrs. and Mr. separate channels, and then our regular channel, and then when we go separately on lives, then we should sign in. I said I'm gonna go insane for handling any more social accounts than we already have now. But
And that's the short one, is 20 seconds. The other one was literally, it's called 10 hours of pig sounds. That's good quality. That's ASMR.
Oh my God, I'm on a crazy train. Yeah, yeah. That's us. That's us. Yeah. You good? No, he's on a kick of this. That's. And now you're telling me this is appropriate. I don't know about that one.
Be nice. Good God.
That sounds awful.
It sounds like a coyote sound, a coyote call sounds.
And I usually think the kittens are cute. Yeah.
Mine's louder than yours.
Oh, farm ambience. That would be better.
Oh, let's check out Very Loud Fire Alarms channel. Here, we're gonna share this puppy. Let's see what this will be good. This has really got my attention, actually. Let's see here. Share. We love sharing. And we'll click here. Oh, I thought it was gonna go all. Yeah, I suppose none of them are hooked up. Oh, I was looking for loud.
Now, are we done with this?
Oh, I hope your phone doesn't hate you, geeks. Oh, we've bought it. Oh, it will? Into the video? Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to take your word on it. We're waiting for a guest because I just can't pass up a good loud noise. Let's see. I will take your word on it. I'm intrigued by this. This is original.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. I like anything like that. Have you seen how many times I have messaged you? I messed up your name. I should say, must be towards you.
Yeah, and they liked your hair. By the way.
My hair?
Yes,
oh, God.
Well, it's always about you, so.
Oh, I tell you. Thank you. I scared the crap out of Stephanie? Yeah, where'd she go after? Oh. And guys, we've hit an all-time low. Let's check on that guest of ours. Come on.
I don't know what's wrong with us today.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay, yeah, I guess it would
Black Star, the sheeps are too spooky for you? Sheeps.
Okay, we're getting our guest on. Don't run away. This is all coming to an end.
Three-winged circus.
Oh, you should have left that. That was perfect.
Well, leave it on. Write it back again.
Yeah.
That's what I like that.
Yeah. Okay, our guest got the look. There's our daughter freaked out now. Guess I have to turn it back.
Again.
Yeah.
That's what...
Welcome.
Hello.
Hey, and how are you?
Can you guys hear us? See us?
Perfect.
All righty.
Stop playing around with sound effects.
That's all right. We were sitting here watching, enjoying you guys. We cranked that up real loud and opened up the windows for the neighbors.
Yeah. Well, my daughter already just gave us a talking to. So, how are you guys tonight?
We are doing great. We are doing great. How about you guys?
We're doing good. I guess we're kind of running a weird show tonight. I realized I forgot to send you the link when I messaged you the other minute, so my apologies.
Why are
That's
they
right.
coming on? They don't have a link.
As you can see, we run a tight ship.
Hey, that's okay. You are running a weird show. You have us on.
Oh, that's our pleasure.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It's everything, goes because you never know what comes up.
That's right.
Thank you so much for being guests on our show. I'm really excited. I'm all over the ghost and paranormal activity stories. And as we were talking, I don't know if you heard what we were saying before. I'm a lot interested into that. And Andrew is kind of on the opposite side. So we're going to play devil's advocate.
No, I'm interested. That makes it sound like I'm not even interested.
No,
I'm interested.
I don't
know if I can.
But he's not a big believer in it. So
but I am interested in you guys. So
I wonder if we all together can make him believe by the end of it.
I don't know, because I'm kind of with him.
She's the skeptic.
High air five there.
Yeah. She's the skeptic. She's the science background and that kind of thing. But they seem to pick on her the most. So
yeah, because your channel was first and foremost though attract people who I would say generally not. I mean, it's open to everybody, but I believe your target audience would probably be what, about 80% believers? Would you say?
It's. There's the 80% that are true believers and under 20% that say they don't believe but are interested.
Yeah.
We work full time in education and we deal with that constantly. And it's kind of interesting working in the academic realm and doing what we do as a hobby,
Right.
So we get most of those people that say, "Hey, you can't wait the next time we go out and do a ghost hunt," and then those like, "Oh yeah, that's crazy," but the next day they're like, "Hey, what'd you find?" How'd it go? And that kind of stuff. So, yeah, everyone's has an interest. It's those who are okay with themselves to admit it.
I really believe that everybody's curious, and maybe some of them just don't want to admit it loud, or there are different reasons why people say they don't believe, but they are. I agree. They are usually are interested. They are curious because it
piques curiosity.
Yes, it is mysterious,
And what you guys do is a little different than some of the stuff. Like a lot of people who I don't want to say non-believers, but are questioning and that. We see a difference over the way you guys are doing what some of the other things we find completely like unequivocally fake.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the process of what you guys are doing.
I would rather put out something that we didn't catch anything than to fake anything.
Right.
Because mainly what we do, and a lot of groups that we work with have that belief as well, but mainly what we do is teach.
Right.
We're teaching the history. We're teaching the methods that we use for paranormal investigation. And you don't always catch something. Even though some of these places that we visited are the most haunted places in the United States.
But of course, everything is, by the way, the most haunted place in the United States.
I'm going to side with her on that one.
No matter where you go, this is the most haunted place.
We don't always catch everything. And I'll put it out anyways. I'll just say, hey, we did an EVP session. Here it is. We didn't hear anything. If you heard something, let us know. So that's mainly what we do is we're trying to document our journey through life, our haunted travels.
Right.
That's what we're trying to do with our channel. And we're having a blast. So
That's cool.
I think your background in education, as you're saying, it really goes, you can see it through your videos. And I think that's why so many people are gravitating to it as well, is because you're right. It's not just, showing a spooky video. It is a lot or even more about the history of the place.
And the science as well. I mean, bringing that background.
Exactly. So even for somebody who doesn't maybe, as you say, believe in the paranormal, there's lots of history there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the part that I like the most is I love going to the buildings and seeing the historical architecture, and then you're going back and you're seeing, okay, well, who lived here and when did they live here and when did it transfer hands? And I just love all of that stuff too.
Or even being in the place, walking in the footsteps
of some famous person or some famous event. That's amazing to me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because usually the ghosts that inhabit it, there's always an amazing story that goes with it. So whether you even believe or not, I mean, that's part of the best storytelling.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And they've originated from someplace. And that's the part that intrigues me is where did it originate
Where did it come from?
So,
yeah. So could you guys, I always ask this as kind of an open question, gets things rolling. I was wondering if you guys can just kind of give everybody, some who haven't seen your channel yet, or just a few videos, a bit of a background on each other, and just kind of how you guys came together, or how you got the channel. You can tell us openly, leave it, whatever you feel comfortable in sharing, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I'll tell you this. Okay, so we work for a school district in Northeast Ohio. It's a public school district. I won't mention the name. Those who know us know the name.
Right.
And I am the technology coordinator for the school district. My wife teaches biology and forensic science, okay, for high school. Wow. So what intrigued me about my wife, one night I was leaving to go home and I looked into her room and she's down on the floor skinning a deer in her classroom.
Wow. Amazing.
So that to me was, this is kind of interesting. I want to go talk to this girl.
So I'll add to that slightly.
Now, she'll tell her version of the story.
Yeah. So I teach biology. And so my kids, they go hunting a lot. And so one of them decided one day to bring me a dead deer head and legs and stuff in a bag. And they're like, hey, Mrs., and I'm like, oh, okay. And the guidance counselor's like, aren't you like a little concerned? I'm like, nah, it's all good, So, I did some demonstrations during school, but then I wanted to play more, so I had more desire to dig into this a little deeper. So I was doing that after school. And of course, you could tell I have really long hair. And so I had my hair up in a clip, but it had started to fall down. So when he came by, I looked up with my bloody gloved hands and I'm like, oh, hey, could you fix my hair for me? Because it's falling down and well, nobody else is here. So that was one of our very first experiences together.
So that's kind of how we knew each other, because I was the tech coordinator for the school district. She was a teacher, so we kind of knew.
It was only about a year or so, though. We didn't really know each other. Yeah. But that's how you really get to know somebody fast.
How we kind of like started talking.
You jumped a lot of fences on that one move, so
yeah. So that's how it started, and we still work together, and all that stuff. So fast forward a little bit, and excuse me, my earbuds are falling out, but fast forward a little bit, we actually ended up getting married in 2006. Mm-hmm. And on our honeymoon, we decided that we're going to, as part of our life, so to speak, is take these adventures and kind of just get lost. I mean, we have the luxury of having time off during the summer, since we work for a school district, where we could just get lost. Okay, so for our honeymoon, we took an 18-day road trip and drove down the coast. We're in Northeast Ohio, so we drove out to the coast and drove down the Outer Banks all the way down to Florida. And our main company that we have, the logo for it is a lighthouse. Right. So one of our goals was to visit as many lighthouses as we could. So one of the places that we stopped was St. Augustine, Florida, because they have St. Augustine Lighthouse. We stopped there. We loved the town and everything, and went on our merry way and came back. So in 2010, this is where it kind of started as far as paranormal for us. We decided we wanted to go back to St. Augustine. We went to Florida. That was the year we went and saw the turtle release too, wasn't it?
Yes.
2010. Okay.
For my biology class, we adopt sea turtles. Northeast Ohio, we protect the sea turtles. And everybody's like, there's no water there.
So we went back to Florida and, we went out to the coast and Vero Beach and stuff like that, where they released the sea turtles. And then we wanted to go back to St. Augustine. We loved it. So we go back and Marianne said, hey, they have this thing at the lighthouse and you could
go see it in the dark.
Yeah, you could go at the dark. And I'm like, why would you go at night in the dark? I don't understand. Well, we've already toured St. Augustine. And she's like, well, it's like a ghost tour. And I'm like, whatever. Okay, it might be kind of cool to see a lighthouse with all the lights off, whatever. Let's do it. So we go to St. Augustine Lighthouse. The name of the tour, they still have it. It's called Dark of the Moon. Okay. And we went there, and they hand me this device when we go and check in. They're like, here, for an extra, $2, $3, I don't know what it was.
I think it was $5.
You can rent this device and it'll detect ghosts. I'm like, really? I already just paid for tickets. I'm going to give you $2, $3. Seriously? So we go and we do this thing, and I was hooked at the time, because a lot of these places will do the tours ahead of time, and they'll do the ghost tours and tell you about the claims and the folklore and stuff like that. I was hooked on that part of it.
Yeah.
But here, St. Augustine Lighthouse is the most haunted lighthouse in the United States, and I turned down a K2 meter. Go figure. But that was like our first paranormal, like, being introduced to it. Okay. So the following night we did a ghost tour that was through the town, and actually she had her first paranormal experience, and we really didn't even know it at the time, when we were at the Spanish military hospital. And we did the tour, and we kind of caught something and showed the tour guide. He goes, oh yeah, you have something there. And that's all on our channel and everything, the story about that. But later down the road, it's like later on that year, I started PANICd, because this is when all the TV shows hit, Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters and all that stuff like that.
They became very popular.
Yeah, they were really hitting pretty heavy. And the guys at work were like, hey, do you check this show out? You check this show out? And I experienced a ghost tour, what they did in person, and then I started watching the shows. And then I got the idea for PANICd.com, because a lot of the websites that I was going to was, they needed something, so started documenting a lot of the locations and stuff. And that's how PANICd.com started. Now, when I was going through and adding stuff, I went back over our recordings and everything that we did at Tolomato Cemetery and at the lighthouse and stuff like that. And sure enough, I caught our first evidence, which is, at the Tolomato Cemetery, we have an EVP that we caught. And I didn't know it for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. But that was it. From there on, we've been to 196.
And I came along for the ride.
Well, I seen the smile when he said, we got our first experience, and I seen your smile, like your smirk a little bit. I'm like, okay, I like this. Yeah. Everybody honest between the both of you, so that's good.
Yeah, see, we didn't know it. It was like, and a lot of people probably have paranormal experiences and don't realize that they have. Like in her case, St. Augustine in July is extremely hot.
Right. It is. It's hot. It's sticky.
Yeah. So we walked into this the Spanish military hospital, which is air conditioned, and my wife, I won't say she's a teetotaler, but she doesn't drink tea. Nothing but water. I mean, she's a science teacher. She doesn't put garbage in her body at all. Immediately, so when she walked in and we started like talking about things, something just overcame her, and she just lost all of her energy, just completely drained, and she had to sit down. And
I thought I was going to pass out.
Oh, really?
And it just happened all of a sudden, and like, we kind of like, oh, okay, well, it was the hot and the air conditioning, that type of change, but I experience that more than she does, being a bigger guy and that kind of thing. For her to experience that, we kind of figured out that where it happened is actually a location in that building that was the what's the word? Not the morning room, where they gave the last rites.
Oh.
And it was like right there. I mean, she immediately just boom, something drained her, and she had to sit. I went on the tour.
I did. I sat down for like half of the tour in the gift shop area, which it's not a really big gift shop by any stretch. They have like water and a couple little tiny trinkets. I mean, it's like
the basics.
It's like just a counter. That's pretty much it. So I was sitting there next to the counter, and the girl, she comes over and she brings me a bottle of water. She's like, put this on your neck, and so I sat there and I did that for, a while, and he went on the rest of the tour, and I eventually went and joined him in the little room that had all the cool old medical experiments and all that kind of stuff. That was really cool. So I did go and join him for that part, but the rest of the regular tour, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, did they say that happened a lot? No, sorry to cut you off. Did that happen a lot in that area? Like, are you the first one that happened to, or does that happen to other people?
I would say that we didn't ask them. But I'd say
Yeah,
that
see,
they
at
were
the time, they really
pretty
didn't
sure
even
like
know.
what to do. I mean, she
Yeah,
was like
oh,
right
yeah.
on it. She's like, here, you
She
need
knew,
to do that.
she
Like
knew
she took
immediately,
care of me
here's
real
what you do.
quick.
Here's an ice pack. Please sit down. You know,
Yeah.
I'll get you some water. You know, so it must have
So
been something that.
I'm
yeah,
gonna guess that it's probably happened before.
It sounded like
But
she
I
was
didn't
ready to
ask.
go on it. So
At the time, we weren't aware.
We didn't
what was
even know.
going
We
on.
didn't even know there was such a thing as a paranormal experience at
It
that
was
point.
basically,
So
and I know you have somebody else in here. I think they're still here from a paranormal. It was an energy drain. You know, it used her body for energy and just drained her real quick. And if you don't know what's going to happen and don't do things to protect yourself, it could happen. You know, so. But like what I was saying, that was actually our first, and now we've been 196 different places and over 300 paranormal investigations. So that's the beginning, and how we met and how we got into this. So.
Yep.
Very cool. That's a great story.
So, like a scientist and experiencing that, yourself, how did you explain it?
You know I was going to ask that.
Well, for me, that particular thing, I just thought it was like something with the temperature, or I just ate something I shouldn't have, or, I didn't really believe it was anything out of the ordinary other than it just doesn't normally happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
now, after a while,
now I don't know what happened to me. I can't explain it. And that's what makes it paranormal. It's things that you can't explain.
Right.
Do I think there was something over there going, ooh?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that at all. But is it a possibility that something was trying to communicate? That's always a possibility. And I'm a skeptic, but I do want to have a communication. I do want to make it, where I can say, yes, there is something after we leave here. I do want to have that at some point. That's kind of like the whole ultimate goal. Although I do debunk a lot of things and make sure that I know it's not that. I mean, there's a place that we go to. Well, we haven't now because they closed. But there was a claim of there's this real weird noise that you hear, and it's this boom, 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 and we don't know where it comes from, and we don't know what this ghost is doing. And I heard it. I was in the basement. I'm like, oh my gosh, I heard what they hear. And then I went up one level, and I heard it again, but from one level up, and it turned out it was a sewer cover in the street that when the cars would go over it, they would go boom, boom, boom. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so that's not paranormal. Okay, so that's,
she explained it.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to have experiences, and I want to be able to, talk to somebody else and see where things are like on the other side, or if there is even another side. But if I can explain it, I can explain it, and I'm gonna say that's hogwash.
That's kind of like me, and what you said there is kind of that. It's not that I don't want to believe, and I feel like I'm my own party pooper for the parade sometimes. Like, I'm actually squishing, even giving a chance, because I was saying that before you guys joined us, and it's like I don't want anybody to get offended when I compare it. When I even brought up religion a while ago, it's just this idea. I admire sometimes. I admire people who can believe in something they can't physically. It's not tangible. I wish I had that kind of, I don't want to say fake, because I'm, you know what I mean? I'm walking a line.
Absolutely.
But it's not for that.
I feel that way too. And like when you go on a paranormal investigation, you basically sit in the dark and talk to people who aren't there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so for me, I do it, and I do it. I think I do it really well, but I do it because if there really is somebody there, I don't want to make them think I'm making fun of them, or, I don't believe them or anything. I would like to say that, I'm here for you. I understand. I'll talk to you. If you talk to me, that's great. So I do, even though I'm a skeptic, and I'm like, I don't know if any of this is, really going to happen. I don't know if there's really anybody here, but I'll sit in the dark and I'll talk to people that aren't there for hours.
Because if they come, you want to be in there.
That's right. That's right.
You don't want to lose that experience if it is possible.
Exactly.
And that's the thing too, is most of the evidence that we actually collect are EVPs and her EVP sessions, responding back to her. And, but she's the skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
The skeptic and the debunker.
I have to ask a question because it's coming up already, and I know we're going to get a lot of it tonight, so we're going to do it right now.
Okay.
People were asking about views on, or if you used a Ouija board.
No.
No.
No. Now, okay, that's just our personal approach. Okay. There are paranormal groups out there who use Ouija boards.
Mm-hmm.
There are those who say, you know, stay away from Ouija boards. But, you know, here's our opinion on that. If you're going to use a Ouija board, do an EVP session, seance, whatever you want to do, it's all basically the same thing. Is you're asking the spirits to come and communicate with you, providing you do it properly. Now, properly, and this is our opinion because we don't want to tick off other paranormal groups, but properly, the way we do it, first, before you go into an investigation or do something like that, we do a protection prayer. We're Christians. We believe in Christianity, and we say a protection prayer. And then before we start an EVP session, which I believe a Ouija board is something similar to that, we open the session. You know, we ask them to come and speak with us, or if there's anybody there to communicate with us. Here's where most people make a mistake. And this is why most people say, don't mess with paranormal and don't mess with Ouija boards and stuff like that. If you invite them, you have to close out the session. You have to tell them, we are done. Thank you. Thank you for your time. You know, we always treat them with respect because at one time they were people too. Thank you for communicating with us. We say our closing prayer and we tell them, we'll come back and visit. You're not allowed to follow us home. And that's what we've done almost 300 times. And I know for a fact, we don't have anything in our home. We don't have attachments. We haven't brought anything back. We have items from haunted locations.
Yes,
you know.
I do.
But if you do it properly, then you'll be okay. And if you're not sure about it, find a local paranormal group and go out with them, and they'll show you how to do it correctly.
So you guys sorry, go ahead.
So as far as Ouija boards, we just don't use them. We really don't need to use them. I mean, we use EVP sessions and other equipment.
Yeah. Now, see, for me, I don't like Ouija boards. I don't like dowsing rods, any of that kind of stuff. And the reason I don't is because I have trust issues. I don't trust other people.
With another
so,
person.
there's somebody that's actually got their hand on the planchette, I'm not the only one. Okay.
Yeah.
And with dowsing rods, I'm sorry, I can hold my hands as still as I can. And you know what? My hands are still moving, so I don't trust those. Now, some people, that's all that they do. They'll only do dowsing rods, or they'll only do Ouija boards or whatever. And
that's okay.
Yeah, that's the way they do it. I just have trust issues.
That's fine. I'll still take their evidence and put it in PANICd because, that's just the way they do it. We don't personally do it that way because of what she said. It still has the human element part of it.
Yes.
So.
Right.
Yes, I'm making noise over here, but he mentioned that I have the stuff from haunted locations.
Yeah, she has to find one that's
and so I have one that's
up.
I had one right here, but it was all wrapped up in.
Took one off the shelf.
I could have taken one off the shelf. This is actually some brick dust from the Lizzie Borden house.
Oh wow!
Yes. So there's a little. I don't. Where's the camera over here?
Yeah, we're down there. You can see it.
I'm like pointing to the corner over there because that's where it is on his computer screen.
Yeah.
So there's a little vial from Lizzie Borden house, and so that's just one example. But I try to get something from some of the places that we go, just because I can. I try not to steal them because you don't want to bring home too many bad things. But
I'm going to tell you something, a realization, because for 20 plus years I've worked with teachers. They're thieves.
Beg, borrow, steal, and if it isn't nailed down, if you can use it in your classroom.
but she'll take things like, what do you get, those little pods, seed pods?
Seed pods from outside in front of the old post office or the new post office at the Murder Castle site. I took some seed pods. That's nature. I didn't,
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Razor Treasure Hunting Emporium was asking, are the dowsing rods for finding metal and water the same for spirits, or is it something else?
Yeah, they're the same thing.
So the purpose behind dowsing rods, we use EMF detectors or K2 meters. They'll pick up on the basically like electromagnetic field, which is the same principle behind a dowsing rod. It'll pick up the flowing water under the ground. They used to use dowsing rods back in the day to find out where they drill wells. So yeah, they're the same. The short answer.
The man always coming for the wells, always.
In Latvia, yeah.
Yes, that's the only way they were doing it.
And even in eastern, like Quebec, where I grew up in the rural area, there was, not everybody did it, but there was always a couple that would ask the one old guy in town that did it.
Your grandfather used to, right?
Yeah, my great grandfather used to drill wells like that. And what it's doing is it's picking up on the electromagnetic field of the flowing water. So it's the same way with the energy of the spirits, because the theory behind that is when they use energy to manifest or communicate or something like that, they're putting off an EMF field.
That's cool. I need to ask you guys, because you mentioned Christianity a while ago. How does that tie in with what you guys do? Do you get any flack sometimes for it, like dealing with paranormal?
I did.
Paranoia works.
I did one time.
Between the two, that's what I should be asking. That's why it slipped in that way.
I did one time. We were set up at a fair, had a booth at a fair with it wasn't PANICd, it was Dark Shadow Ghost Tours. And yeah, I had a Christian minister come up and get in my face and tell me how I was corrupting souls and things like that. And I had a long debate with him, and by the time I was done, I won. But yeah, that's the only time really I got a lot of flack about that. One of the philosophies that we believe in is free will. And we believe that, what's that?
This one keeps falling out.
Yeah, mine does too. But okay, so God gave us free will. And, once we cross over, do you think he takes it away? We believe not. So, and then there's those who are in fear of judgment that may not cross over. That's why they're still here. Yeah. And if you have the free will to come back and visit loved ones or visit places that you have and things like that, it's a different dimension. That's what we believe in. So, and that's what I explain to those who kind of get in my face and say, I deal with demons all the time. I've been to a lot of places. I've been to a lot of scary places. I've been to some of the most haunted places, prisons, things like that in the world. As far as demons go, I've come across evil spirits, but demonic, I would say they're extremely rare, right? If they're out there, because demonic means they weren't a human entity at one time. So, based on our faith, we really don't run into that. And quite frankly, I think it's because they're afraid of us. To be honest,
I like that. That's actually. And I hope it's on the spot. Like I was more curious in general, not to question anything.
I did have a guy get in my face for about 20 minutes at a fair once about it, but that's a good question.
Yeah. Now for me, when I was a small little girl, and it was to the point where I was so small that I don't remember it. I just have my mother that tells me about it. But apparently I saw angels flying around in the church at one point. And I apparently told my mom, and she went to the priest, and she's like, do I need to worry about this? And my priest was fine with that. He said, no, she might have, and so they were very open-minded at my church when I was growing up. And I'm Byzantine Catholic. So, we're the we're not the
3 times. I got married 3 times, actually 6 times. We were married 6 times, so we're really married.
Stop it. He just loves that everything was done like 3 times. And by the way,
2.
My cousin is a priest, so he was one of the officiants. So we had 2 officiants, and we did everything 3 times. So he's like, we're super married. But I if I was able to have that experience and my priest was okay with it, and, if you think about it, what's the religion's preaching most of the time is that there is some entity out there, it doesn't matter what religion you're talking about. There's some entity out there that is, above us as human earthlings. And they're usually a ghost or a spirit at some point. So I think most religions are still okay with it.
We get a lot of reports, a lot of people that contact us, you know, whether it's through Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and, you know, because we've been doing this a while. We just kind of started the channel in our haunted travels, but we've been doing the paranormal stuff for a while. And a lot of them tell, oh, I got a demon, I got this, I'm hearing that, and all that other stuff. And that's what I tell them. I mean, demons are extremely rare. I mean, you would know if you have a demon in your house. It's not what you see in the movies. It's not what you see on television. But I will say this, there are evil spirits. If that spirit was evil and angry while he was on Earth, he's not going to change in the afterlife. You know, he's still going to be a nasty old man. So, you know, that's our approach to it.
So there are different types of ghosts, what you're saying?
What's that?
So there are different types of ghosts, what you're saying?
Well, there's different types of people.
So the same as people, okay.
Yeah, you know, the spirits that we encounter, we believe at one time they were people, you know, and look at the diversity that we have in the world. It's the same way in the spirit world. That's our belief. So
that's a good way to look at it. I never really thought of it that way before. Also, too, I have to mention, because we're geeks, General Ectoplasm Exposition and Knowledge Society says we so need to share stories with you.
Sure, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they are going to be on, I think, 2 weeks from now as well. So that's going to be interesting to see different stories too. So
this is true
for sure.
You'll have to see. You'll have to see if they started out with a dead deer. You know.
Yeah. I think that one's unique.
You definitely got a pigeonhole in the market with that one. I will give you that. I like that.
But it's a dead deer in a high school classroom. There we go.
I have a tactical question from Bottle Caps. What's an EMF meter, electromagnetic field, and how does it work? Like, can you explain the?
Do you want to do that one, or do you want me to do that one?
No, you're doing
I've
good.
been talking all night.
That's all right. You're doing fine.
Electromagnetic field. Okay, so everything in the world, even the earth and our bodies, and you know, anything that has motion with it puts off energy. Okay, now there's different levels of energy. And in most cases, it's not detectable. Okay, and that's called electromagnetic field, EMF.
It's not detectable because it's so small.
Yeah,
because it doesn't exist.
It's very low. So like I can't pick up from, you know, Marianne, you know, what's going on. Here's a good way to explain this. You ever walk, you remember the old TVs and you kick them on, you hear the boom, and you know, and you can feel the hair stand up on the back of your neck? Yeah. That is electromagnetic field. That is what you're feeling, is that going off on that device.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, our daughter's crying. I apologize.
Aww.
Oh, that's all right. Thought you were having an earthquake.
I gotta move that desk a little bit.
God, I'm even freaked out. I'm so into the conversation. Yeah, continue on.
Okay, so electromagnetic field is in the paranormal realm, and I mentioned this earlier, is that we believe that when spirits try to communicate, they need some form of energy. And when you, and Marianne, you could chime in on the scientific part, but when you have that exchange of energy taking place, it puts off electromagnetic field, you know. And like I said, it's all at different frequencies, different energy levels and that kind of stuff. So we use K2 meters and other meters like a Mel meter and that kind of stuff that'll read and detect electromagnetic field
that you can't detect just naturally.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Wow. So I wasn't really listening too hard to what he was saying because I was reading.
That's normal.
Because this time though, it was because I was reading the questions, and there was a question that I think it was Reese or something.
Honey,
said,
it's not your show;
I know,
it's their show.
I know, but it
questions.
said for them to ask us about Shepherdstown. So go ahead and because we actually have been to the area. So go ahead and ask that question.
Shepherdstown,
Harper's Ferry and Shepherdstown.
Harper's Ferry, yes, we've been there last summer.
Oh, well, there you go. You probably have a video about it.
Not
yet. We have not done them yet. See, here's the thing about our channel. Okay. We've been to 196 locations. Probably by the end of summer, we're going to be at maybe 205, 210 because we got new places that we're going to. So what I'm trying to do is every week cover one of the locations that we've been to. Because if you look at the PANICd database, and there's other websites out there that have paranormal claims and that kind of stuff, that ours is broken down by, it has the history of the location. Well, let me back up, the demographic information of the location, where it's located, whether it's open to the public, that kind of thing. Then the history of location, the folklores and stories about the location, the paranormal claims and resource links that we found about the location. Then if there's evidence that we find, and this is our invitation to other paranormal groups, let us know, because we can link to it and put it in the database. All right, so that's the way PANICd is set up. Now, our book series and our videos is we're taking that same approach, you know, history, folklore, paranormal claims, all that other stuff, but we're adding to it why we believe the place could be haunted and our personal experiences. Because there's almost 800 locations in the database, and I have a list of about at least 200 more to add from people who told me. I just haven't had time. And we've been to 196 of them. So our channel, it's just, you know, I'm trying to tune everything in to kind of get the followers and do all that other stuff. And our first book came out, and our second book came out, which is the coloring book. And, you know, we're just trying to keep everything going. And at this point, it's still just a hobby, you know, but yeah, I don't remember what the question was. Did we do the video yet for Harper's?
Right. So
No,
the question, I think the question that they originally had though was not just have we been there, but if we saw the shows as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think they were sort of questioning maybe
I have a
what we were
story about
thinking.
that.
Yeah. So
Do you want to tell the story? I'm talking the whole time.
I know, but you're doing so good.
All right.
But when we were there, one of the parts of the video that was on the TV show was at the Wax Museum. And that was a biggie for them. It was that there was, you know, all this paranormal activity in the walls and all this stuff. Well, we were there
when it aired.
When it aired.
Oh.
But when we were there, we also went into that building and we purchased a book from there. And the book was published, what was it, 5 years or 7 years before that?
It was 6 years before the show. Now we're gonna come out on some secrets on your show right here that we've really never told anybody before, and probably would never tell anybody before again. Wow. We know for a fact that story of the lady who was the manager of the Wax Museum that they aired on the show, where it said the night before she got, you know, hit, she's in the hospital and that other stuff. It's crap, because it was in that book
from
5.5 years before the show even aired.
So it may have happened, but it definitely did not happen then. Plus, she's one of the town storytellers. She is the
town storyteller
for the ghost tours.
For the ghost tours.
Wow.
So, you know, that's what we try to do, where we don't make stuff up. You know, I know some of those shows, and we've been contacted to do shows and write books and things like that. And they want us to make stuff up, and I'm not going to do it, because, like I said, it's a hobby, and it's something that we're doing to document our life. And I'm not going to do it.
And I want to remain credible.
Yeah. Yes. Being an academic, we have to remain credible. So.
And no offense to you, but when big money is not the issue, and that's like production companies, that it's easier to keep your integrity that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Here's another thing that we didn't tell any people too. We were actually offered big money to write a book about the Mahoning Valley, where we live, about paranormal locations around here. And I told them specifically that, you know, I don't have a lot of evidence, because we haven't been into the places to investigate.
Because they don't like it here in our area.
Yeah. And they told me to make it up. They would still give me a big check. And I'm like, no, not going to do it. Sorry. You know, they wouldn't let me write it the way I wanted to write. So our books that are coming out are self-published. We publish them ourselves through Amazon. I don't let any editor or any producer or anybody like that go over the stuff. So I don't know. It's just, I don't feel that we need to do that. There's too much of that stuff out on YouTube and all that stuff anyways, and the movies, and like you were saying earlier about Halloween, people really get interested in the paranormal at Halloween time. With Dark Shadow Ghost Stories, when we were doing that pretty heavy, we refused to do anything in October because of that, because you're in competition with haunted houses and all that other stuff going on. We're year round, so
that's cool. That's a good point to do right there. So most people be jumping on the bandwagon there. You guys actually went the opposite way.
Midnight Raven is asking, is the TV show most haunted staged?
What's that?
Is the TV show most haunted staged?
Most haunted.
I don't remember seeing that.
I don't know. I mean, I personally, I don't have any, we haven't talked to anybody specifically who was on that show. There are some of the other ones where we'll go to locations and we'll talk to the people. We become friendly with the people who run the facilities, and they'll say, well, yeah, when they were here, they did this, and, they stretched this, So we know a little bit for some of the shows, but we haven't had any dealings with that particular
It's probably, and this goes back to what I was saying about the ghost stories and the folklore and stuff like that. There's probably truth to the underlying story. However, your show has to have ratings.
Yes.
Right.
So me personally, would not trust it 100% as truth. It's kind of like Wikipedia.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody can say anything, and
it's like,
make it as exciting as you can.
If you view it as entertainment, it's awesome. But scientifically,
and any reality show follows that same pattern. I mean, I'm going to take even one on the opposite side, just because I seen the other night a bit of it was a show like Gold Rush. Like they're so pushed into making it into everything looks like it's about to blow up any second. Right. And the next guys working beside them are just having a normal, 12-hour shift, and let you go home.
Absolutely.
You can go through all of them, or the dating ones, or whatever. Of course, it's all set up, and they need those ratings. They can't just have a normal, like you guys probably sit for days sometimes waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
Well, production companies, and you have everybody standing there. They got to get something done so they can get out in a value.
Lizzie Borden house. We were there. We spent the night there. We rented a room, and this isn't cheap. We flew out for her conference, rented a car, drove to Fall River, which is only about an hour.
It's about 45 minutes to an hour.
45 minutes. Rented a room in the Lizzie Borden
house.
house. Our equipment, we got thousands of dollars in equipment. Those are paranormal groups. They know what I'm talking about. So our equipment, all that other stuff. This is Lizzie Borden's house, right?
That's crazy.
We got 2 EVPs the whole night we were there. I thought it would be going off like crazy, but it just happens. And then somebody else could go back the next night and boom,
tons of stuff. Yeah.
It's just, if they want to communicate with you, they will. It's just like people
respond to the people that are there, like they
choose
who they come to.
Yeah,
I think so, because we've gone to certain locations, and one location we go to quite a bit, at least a couple times a year, and depending on who's there with us that night, we'll see a different amount of activity. If somebody's there and they're screwing around, we get nothing. We get nothing.
We had one guy go with us. He was wearing a foil hat on his head, and that kind of stuff. The funny thing is like halfway through the night, he got really physically ill and had to go lay down. When he did, activity picked up. So it depends.
I didn't mean to laugh. I just picture. I'm sorry. I just got.
It's hilarious. But we actually had him. He was there.
Okay.
And he looked just as silly as you think.
I apologize. I just got a visual.
Everything you saw in your head was true.
Thank you, and I apologize for that.
That's not a problem.
Ball Caps was telling that story about how he was flying a drone over the graveyard, and it kept losing signal, but still kept flying on its own. Usually drones return as it loses the signal, but this one kept flying on its own. So his question was, what about the energy at the graveyards? Is it something different or specific about it? Or
Well, that's quite interesting
Good question.
that it's a graveyard, because in most cases you don't have a lot of electricity running through a graveyard that's going to interfere with the signal like that. So I would say, to question that, I would say go back to the graveyard with a K2 meter, or you could get those other meters, that something that detects EMF, and kind of walk around and see if you're picking stuff up. See if it's coming, you know, like even a bad transformer, electrical transformer will put off EMF at a long distance just to see in that area, see if it detects anything. And if you can't find anything that could be causing that interference in that frequency, yeah, could be something there. Could be something playing with you there, saying, hey, you're not flying this drone.
Yeah.
You never know.
And sometimes, just as far as graveyards go, not specifically, you know, this major electrical energy, but a lot of times they'll say, some people will say, there's absolutely no one who would be haunting a graveyard. Why would they come back and go there?
Yeah.
But other times people will say it's because their graves were disturbed. They've been buried and reburied and opened up and things like that. And so they're looking for parts of their body that didn't come with them, or whatnot, or looking for a loved one that they thought was over there and now they're not there anymore. So do graveyards have different things that are happening? Potentially, yes.
And the funny thing is what we found. We've been doing this for so long and kind of comparing a lot of stuff, and, you know, research and reading and all that stuff. For every story and theory you hear one thing, you could find another one that'll say something else. I mean, this is all theory anyways. You know, like she was saying,
nobody's going to know.
Some people say, oh, no, they're not going to haunt a graveyard, you know, that kind of stuff. Yet I could show you 3 or 4 different people, even ourselves, who've caught stuff on an ovulus and stuff in a cemetery. So
ovulus,
you know,
EVP readers, you know, recordings.
Ovulus? What is it?
Ovulus is a piece of ghost hunting equipment that has a dictionary in it, and it will spit out words every now and again when it comes to certain electrical impulses. And sometimes it's just garbage, but you might be having a conversation and what you're talking about, there's a word that matches with it, or it's an answer or something like that. So that's basically an ovulus, just talks words.
So it basically communicates from the ghost to you?
Yes.
That is the understanding. That's the theory. And they have like this bank of words that they're allowed to use because that's what's in the dictionary of the ovulus. And so, you know, one place we did an investigation just recently, and we used the ovulus at, and the guy was a banker, and there was a room underneath the front porch that the kids would go and play in all the time. And that we got picked up on the ovulus. We got bank and money. So we thought that was kind of interesting because that's what the guy who lived there, that was his profession. So we kind of took a little more credence to that. But then you get sometimes when you'll be just walking by and it'll say like blue, like
purple,
and you're like, what are you talking about? That mean? So sometimes it doesn't really do anything.
When it's part of your session, you know, when we do EVP sessions or we're using the ovulus or spirit box, we get kind of like into the zone, you know, and when that response that you get back is like part of that conversation, it's really an adrenaline rush, and it's exciting because now you're communicating with something that's considered to be intelligent. You know, and I think that same night that we were talking about, that's when we had the Boo Bear that said, I like hugs, and the ovulus went hug, you know, it's like, that's just the odds of that happening, you know, is strange.
Yeah. It's similar to what they say about explaining or reading the dreams. It's very important, the context and the way the person that is talking about or experiencing it responds to it, like the inner view.
Yeah, and what their meaning for it is. Absolutely.
Wow. I never heard about this dictionary thing. That sounds really wow. I'm stunned.
And for people who are new to paranormal investigation, they love that because it's like immediate feedback.
It's immediate response.
Whereas if you're doing like a EVP session, you have to go back later and listen to the recording and see if you got anything.
In real time. So if you do 4 hours of recording with 2 recorders, that's 8 hours you have to listen to.
Just to see if you got anything, and you don't know when you're there unless you sit there and do it, but then you're missing out on maybe potentially getting another experience. So I don't like to do that. But if you have an ovilist, people are like, oh my gosh, that actually just said that, you know. So people who are new like it.
Have you ever been contacted from people that wanted to get rid of the ghost in a house? Like they believe that it is haunted and they would wanted to get rid of them, and have you done that? How do you do that if you have?
Are you taking that, or am I taking that?
So we'll tag team.
We'll tag team.
Yes, we have been contacted. We get contacted for that a lot, actually. We tend not to do it. We've been part of a couple of house cleansings. We didn't do it. We were just part of the group that went, but we weren't in charge of it or anything. We experienced it and we saw how it was run and things like that.
Well, it was more than cleansings. It was a blessing. You have different things. You have blessings, you have cleansings, and crossings. Okay. And we've experienced all three.
Right.
A lot of people think, oh, you got a ghost in your house, go around and sage. No. If you have a ghost in your house, you want to get rid of it, you have to do a crossing. If it's something dark, you have to do a cleansing and work it out of the house. And then once everything is taken care of, then you do a blessing and seal it. So saging, quite frankly, if you have something that is evil and even worse yet, demonic, you're just going to tick it off, because the only thing it's going to do is it'll weaken it. And there's something that that spirit is feeding upon, you know, some sort of negative something that's taking place in that house or in that family, or something that it feeds on. So when you sage, it weakens it. And then when it comes back and feeds on that negative energy again, it comes back stronger. Then again, that's our beliefs. And if you talk to somebody who's Wiccan belief, or somebody who's Native American or something else or whatever, they're going to tell you something completely different. But in our experience and the groups and stuff, the group that we worked with, that's what we found. Now, like Marianne said, though, we're trying to focus at this point in our life on documenting our travels. And we have so much to do, and we keep doing them. We kind of like refer those out. Now, we do get people who contact us and say, hey, I'm having problems or whatever. I refer them out because of our schedules and timing and stuff like that. We just, you know, it takes some time to be a part of that. You got to go investigate, you know, maybe a few times to kind of figure out what you're dealing with. Then you got to go back and do the crossing, the cleansing, the blessing, you know, that takes time. Not that we don't, you know, want to help people. Yeah. It's just, I'd rather refer them out to people that's what they specialize in.
Right.
So.
So a question here too. So if somebody dies a horrible death in the house, let's say it's a murder or something like that, do they always come back?
No.
Like how does it work? Like who is the ones that come back? Yes, I know like part of them are come for the things that they haven't finished yet or looking for the loved ones, but the ones who die in a bad death, so to say, which ones do come back, and why the ones that don't? Why they don't?
Well, it gets back to what I was saying, and what our belief is free will. Say somebody tragically died. Number one, they didn't know that they died. You know, it just happened so quick and tragic and whatever. Then they could have missed the opportunity to cross, and they're trapped here. Okay. Yeah. Or they could have, oh, okay, I died. There's the light. Boom. You know, whether it is a light, whatever, they had that opportunity, they're crossing. Or maybe it was something tragic, like say it was hypothetically 2 drug dealers, whatever. They're both bad guys, right? One of them shoots the other one. Maybe he's in fear of judgment, doesn't want to cross. I didn't, you know, fix things in my life. I don't want to go deal with that. He stays here. So there's different reasons, okay? Then once you do cross and go over and experience whatever there is on the other side, maybe you want to come back. if you have the free will, then you can. So it's not always just, you know, a tragic death is going to cause a haunting. No, it could be a reason why, but it's not always going to be, you know. So, and it's all, you have to study the whole thing and look at everything. It's, you know, when you try to, you have to look at it. And this is what, coming from a technical standpoint with being programming background and stuff like that, I have a tendency to, with the ability to look at things backwards, you know, so you have to look at it backwards. If you get contacted like, hey, I got this weird stuff going on, I can't find my keys, and the kids are seeing this, and it's driving the dogs nuts, and all that other stuff like that, I think my house is haunted. What do you think? Well, you got to work your way backwards, you know, and I ask them questions, you know, have you had your electric changed lately? You know, how old's the house? Do you know if there's been any deaths? You know, I just bombard them with all these questions and kind of piece everything together. We even know of a case personally of a guy that we know very well who brought the entity with him, you know, I mean, there was nothing at the house he moved into and brought it with him, you know, so it could be anything. I wouldn't say that a tragic death causes a haunting, but it's a potential of a haunting. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Before you start, I just want to apologize to everybody. We have strong winds tonight, and my daughter's scared, and she cried twice.
And then you're sitting there in the dark talking to these scary people.
And I think I kind of threw over the edge, so that's why I was gone. I apologize walking out on you guys, but now she's with her brother, so she's good.
Oh, it's all right.
There was a story, and I wanted to get just as an example for somebody who maybe doesn't believe in this. Reese was talking about his grandfather that passed away in 2010, and he passed away in the hospital, but he lived in the house where they still live there. And he used to work at the U.S. Postal Office. So now sometimes they hear the floors cracking and his keys from the postal office swinging back and forth like it used to on his side. And usually the dog looks down the hallway, like almost like following the ghost, so to say. My question with that would be, do you think that animals see it or feel it better than we can?
Yeah, if you think about it, whenever there's any major weather shifts, the animals know. They're like freaking out before it happens. Yeah. They're getting real skittish.
Animals know before earthquake.
And that's because there's changes, electrical energy changes that they're noticing way before we do. They're more sensitive, and so that EMF that the ghosts are putting off, that's the same kind of thing.
There's another theory too about spirits being in a different dimension and they move quick. A lot of people who report shadow figures, they see them out the corner of their eye. There's something moving real quick and real fast. Exactly. Okay. Well, animals, dogs, cats, whatever, they can see things faster than what we can as humans. Their eyes are faster. Okay. Even like animals in the wild that run faster than humans, they see things faster than we can. So that's why they're again, theory. Okay. But that's what I've read is like they're seeing it. And the same way with small children that they say they see things and stuff like that. The theory behind that is their brain hasn't been manipulated with all the crap that us adults have to deal with, like mortgage and car payments and insurance and all that other stuff. Their brain is still open.
They're open and free.
And another theory of that too is that their soul's still close to heaven and they're close to the spirits and things like that. If you study the theories, the paranormal theories that's out there, a lot of them are quite interesting. And then when you start looking at the cases and people telling you stuff and reporting stuff and putting it all together, getting back to what I originally said, it has to come from somewhere. It has to start from somewhere. And if you put it all together, it's very, very interesting. And that's why I do this, just looking at all of that.
Cool.
Were you interested in it as a child too?
No, not at all. Now, my mom and my great grandmother were, not so much me. Not really. No, not at all. I can't say that I have. Now, looking back, knowing what I know now, I know that I had some experiences when I was younger,
Right.
You know, it's like you know your loved ones who pass, grandparents and stuff like that that come to you in dreams or things like that. It could be, and I'd like to know that that's them coming back to say goodbye or checking on you or something like that. Now, is it something that's creepy and oh, you know, I see this thing and they're coming to kill me? No, I don't believe that, you know, but you had stuff when you were younger. She's still scared of basements.
Well, yeah. Well, I had the angels supposedly that I saw when I was a small child, but I also would have these recurring nightmares. I had 2 individual nightmares that I always had, and I would have them all the time. They were basically my father's side of the family trying to come and kill me and my mother's side of the family in the basement. And one of them was this woman in this long flowing white gown with long blonde hair and all this. And I described her, and when I was in the dream, I would be trying to run up the stairs to get to the door, and I could feel her fingers go through my hair as she tried to grasp me, and like I got away, and then I would wake up. But I described her to my family, and nobody really paid much attention. But my godfather, he came for one of the holidays, and everybody was talking about different things, and I discussed this dream, and he's like, "That's great grandma." You know, and so apparently it was like the dress she was buried in and stuff, and she was dead when they were kids. Wow. So why was she coming after me, or why do I know about her? I have no idea. You know, so did I have a paranormal experience in my dream? I don't know, maybe. But I wasn't into ghosts and everything. I mean, I watched Scooby-Doo when I was little, but you know,
the ultimate paranormal investigator.
Yeah, but you know, you go over there and you grab their face. Oh, it's Mr. Magoo. You know. But that was my ghost hunting experiences when I was a child. I watched Scooby-Doo.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
Interesting. And then you end up being the one that is on the science side of this.
Imagine that.
Because they kind of play reverse belief there. That's interesting. We have Brother Dan, and then he was saying, oh, it's interesting and fun, but he's a scientist. So I mentioned that you're a scientist too. So he finds it interesting how a scientist can be you know, in this field, so to say.
Yeah, well, see, for me, as a scientist, I'm always collecting evidence. And so that's my thing, is I'm going to collect as much evidence as I can. And if things point in one direction or another, so be it. But I'm always collecting evidence. I want more to know about different things. And so for me, that's the science part for me.
When we go out to a location, Marianne, I call her our forensic photographer. I mean, she might take anywhere from 300 to 600 pictures, you know, just around the location of different things. And, you know, oh, there's a crack in the wall and a brick over here, and, you know, that kind of stuff like that. But it's awesome now that we're doing the channel now too, the videos, where I can go back and bring some of that stuff up. And the funny thing is, as we're looking through the pictures, is like, did you see this? What was this? I don't remember that being there, you know, and that kind of stuff. So
but also it helps me debunk a lot of things too, because you'll see something and, well, oh, what was that? And then you're like, okay, well, in this picture, which is very across from that, there was a mirror. So that's a flash, you know, whatever. And so that helps with that as well. So the science for me helps out a lot to prove, or, you know, say that wasn't paranormal, just as much as, hey, I can't explain this. So.
Right.
What was the most shocking story to you guys that you maybe didn't expect it to be really true, but you felt like it could be?
Shocking that we didn't expect to be true,
but we think now that it could be.
Wow, I've never heard that question before. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I thought you were going to ask what was the most scary place we've been.
Well, let's start with
We were-
that.
yeah.
Let's start with that one.
Well, you know, we've been to a lot of scary places, and and we get that question all the time, like, what's the scariest? What's your most whatever? And I'm going to tell you the story that we give all the time. It's not the most scariest. It's the most horrifying one that her and I experienced. Okay. Now, PANICdVideos is documenting our travels, okay? But we also have Dark Shadow Ghost Tours. And what Dark Shadow Ghost Tours is more of like a promotion type production company, okay?
Right.
We take people out with us to do ghost hunts.
We show them
put
how
on-
to use the equipment, you
Yeah.
know, what kind of questions to ask, that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
That's a cool
And-
concept, by the way.
And we put on murder mystery dinners and, you know, things like that. So it's like the fun part, you know, so to speak, getting fans and things like that. So at one time we took 50 people on a bus from Youngstown, Ohio to Mansfield and
To the Ohio State Reformatory.
Ohio State Reformatory. And we had a couple that was with us that was an older couple. They've never been out on a ghost hunt before. I think they even won tickets to go with us. And she, the wife, she actually felt like something pulled her into one of the cells and freaked her out so bad she screamed. Marianne was the head of the group, and I was just walking in like to check on them, and I heard her scream, and I thought, oh, whatever. Now at the same time, when I heard her scream, I actually experienced a shadow coming down off of the third tier and going out and shooting out another room that had lights on. And I actually saw that when she screamed. And I'm like, what's going on? You know, why is she screaming? Everything okay? And Marianne's like, no, we have a problem. We had to get her down off of the third floor,
third tier of prison cells.
Prison cells in the dark. You know, we had flashlights and stuff.
She was frozen solid, and
But
she was not moving.
and she was freaked out. So we had to get her down, and Marianne went with her outside for I think
sat out
probably
there.
the rest of the time.
I
And
sat
she's just
outside in
smoking
the foyer with her in the yard.
Now, if it was just her and I that was there, you know, whatever. We experienced stuff like that every once in a while. We knew it was Mansfield. We knew it's a prison. That's going to be creepy, crazy stuff going on. But I was worried for her, you know, worried that, you know, we're not going to get her down. She's going to freak out and that kind of stuff. So that was the most horrific experience that we've ever had. You know, as far as scary, we've experienced so much. I don't even know what to say is scary anymore, or just typical that we, you know, expect it to happen. But it doesn't happen a lot. You know, it does happen. We've had experiences. We've caught evidence. We got photographs. We got video. We got, you know, EVP recordings. Most of them are EVPs, but not a lot. So.
Knowing like how the back, so to say, part of all this, how it works, does it seem less scary now? Like understanding what is behind it, does it seem less scary?
I'm not afraid of anything except for basements, and that's because of my childhood experiences. Like, for example, we have a location here about 45 minutes away from us. We go there quite often, Hillview Manor. It's one of the ones that's been on all the shows and whatnot. And we did a Halloween party for them there. And so we did human clue throughout the building. It was really cool. Oh, I have to admit, that was one of my good ones. But we had everybody that was in. I had to tote myself there for that one.
That was a good one.
But we had them all. Everybody was in the chapel, and they were doing, you know, playing Halloween music and playing this game. Well, I had to go and put out all the clues in the building. So I went by myself in the dark in Hillview Manor, in, you know, this pretty haunted place. And I went around and stuck all the things out. Everywhere I was fine, but I couldn't do the basement. I couldn't. So I went to the door. I went down one step, and I'm like, nope. Isn't gonna happen. And I came back up, and I went all the way to the other side.
To the basement.
And I'm like, I need you to come with me. What's wrong? I just can't go to the basement myself. You So for me, I went all through this haunted building, and there are ghosts on all over that building.
Yeah.
Things that are supposed to be, you know, on this floor or that floor, and I'm going to all these places, and I was totally fine. Took me near that basement, forget it, you know?
I think my answer to that would be that we've kind of like learned, well, I have, you know, you sense something, you know what I mean? Like you sense, I'm not going in that room because it just doesn't feel right. You know, it feels dark. It feels, I just don't want to deal with that. And we just don't do it. You know what I mean? And that's really like at the prisons or, you know, well, some hotels too. You know, there's just certain areas where there's something bad in there. I'm not going in there. I'm not saying it's demonic, but it's just something bad. I don't want to deal with it. Then again, I get kind of like in the mood, like, okay, let's go. But I won't go by myself. I'll take somebody with me and throw Marianne in there first. But, you know, but in most cases, I can like tell. I'm not sensitive in any way, you know, like, you know, medium, psychic, any of that stuff. But I do get that feeling where I get just like something watching me or something just telling me don't do it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was something that we've developed over time, you know. In the beginning when we first started this, I made some mistakes. I learned,
everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, I made some mistakes. I pushed a little too far, and you know, I got myself sick, and you know, so
I'm laughing at Xenia tonight because in all the years we've been together, I've never seen her talk about this subject so confidently because she finally got somebody to relate with. So she's like milking it for all it's worth. I can feel it.
With him about that because,
right now it's the same amount of confidence as she was going to tell me the sun was coming up tomorrow. Like, so I'll be truthful. Like she talks, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that yeah." Like it's not to mock her. It's I can't even get myself into it. And I feel like I let her down, so I gotta say it is kind of nice to see her like finally getting this release there. It's been told.
Being on my side.
I'm just a realist. Like everything to me is, and I'm not knowing what you guys do. I don't mean it that way. I'm my way of always just looking, and it's a boring way. Is I justify it too quickly all the time. Maybe that's what maybe I shouldn't be doing. To me, there's always just the fastest logical answer that pops in your head. That's got to be it.
And sometimes it is, though.
Yeah, of course, but not always, you know. And maybe I am missing something by doing that too quickly.
And you know what? To be honest with you, we used to be that way too until 2010. You know what I mean? I mean, I was exactly that way. I was a computer programmer. You know, before I went and worked at the school district, I worked for a data center and educational and did programming. And it was, you know, scientific type analytical data, that kind of stuff. And that's the quickest thing. Yeah, you know, the quickest thing, get it done, get to the point. And somebody would say something to me, you know, I didn't even like reading fantasy books and stuff like that because it wasn't.
It's not real. It's
not real. This is what I want. But, you know, once you kind of like delve into it and start researching, and to be honest with you, what we really love about the whole thing is the history. The history and going to the places. And, you know, like tomorrow night, we're doing our live stream tomorrow night, 5 o'clock commercial Eastern time.
Love it.
We're doing it on the Columbian World's Fair of 1893, and we're going to be talking about that and how that actually changed United States. You know, in Northern Hemisphere, there's all the stuff that came out during that fair and all the famous people that were there, and you know that ties into what we did this last week with H.H. Holmes and going to Chicago, and next week the Crown Plaza. Congress Plaza Hotel.
Yeah, you guys really get around. You guys really get to a lot of places.
Yeah, we're blessed in that way. So we get a chance to travel at least twice a year. So
well, that's good. Because we were talking a while ago about reality, like something I always brought up. Between the ages of 4 and 6, I had you remember years ago when the TV actually would go off the air at the end of the night?
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
You would always have like the Canadian anthem here, and
we had the U.S.
Broadcasting Day, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I used to go into panic attacks, huge, because my father and sometimes even my mother would fall asleep watching the TV downstairs. And I would shake and cry and go into all these and go down and eventually like begging them, pleading to go to bed. And only years later, in the end of high school, I had to speak to a psychologist. Yeah, because I was a bit wild, but I was wasting our time. And then we actually did talk a little bit, and we came to the conclusion. We realized what happened all those years later was when kids hear something, misperceive it. I found out it was when my grandfather was 3 and he died. My father said he found him in front of the television dead, and it was off the air. And, you know,
so you had that.
You had that in your mind.
Yeah, you know, it's like.
Yeah, you didn't realize you did, but
no,
you know,
not a bit. You know, and I believed, and I was terrified. You know, all the emotions of everything, like I was going to lose them. Never make a connection because your young mind can't make it. My parents didn't think of it at the time, of course.
It's amazing how the human mind and what we retain as far as memory and even sense of smell and things like that. You know, like I'll smell certain things and I'll bring back a memory of when I was like 3. You know. Yep. It's just amazing how the human mind works. So
it's how we perceive things too, and that ties into what you guys are doing. And I mean, that openness sometimes to let go of the realist side for a minute and actually open your mind, you know, and perceive it differently might change some people's minds too.
Yeah, and if if somebody out there, we like to call ourselves paranormal researchers. You know, there are paranormal investigators, there are paranormal researchers, and there are ghost hunters. Okay. Right. And our definitions of those: ghost hunters go out for the thrill.
Yes, the rock stars the whole thing.
Right. Paranormal investigators go out to investigate a case and come to a solution.
Right.
We do investigate, but we also research, and we spend most of our time researching. And we have a lot of stuff that we've collected and found in books. You know, it's just. We could open a library with the stuff that we have. And it's cool. Like even with the World's Fair, it's like we'll come across a cake. Lizzie Borden was there. Disney's father took him there. You know, you go and you see all this and it keeps popping up and popping up and popping up. And once you like delve into that, it's amazing the stuff that you find, you know. So
what's gravitating me to you guys is it's not this in your face, oh, we're going to terrify you, oh, we're going to make you a believer. It's more like you say, and I think that ties into your description of yourselves, that you're more like you're in for the long haul. You appreciate the history. Not everything is meant to scare the pants off of everybody or put on a big show to attract viewers.
Right.
I do see and I appreciate the scientific side as well as the historian side and what you guys were bringing. Like that I really do, honestly, generally appreciate from what I've seen so far.
And that's the hard part with our channel. You know, number one, our name, PANICD, nobody even knows it's paranormal related. But number two, when you hear paranormal or ghost activity or something like that, you think you're going to click on it and see, you know, a chair fly across the room. Yeah. Well, I've done over 300 investigations. I've never seen a chair fly across the room. You know,
not saying I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, you know, we haven't asked them to throw something across the room, especially that stupid Boo Bear that we have. But, you know, it's just, you know, people start watching, it's like, whatever, we don't get the views. But somebody who's out there and would like to know about certain locations and stuff like that, those are the people that's going to love our videos.
Oh, definitely. I agree.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you said chair, I was laughing because when I was using an example, that was exactly what was in my head. So we were right on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
I mean, I was surprised to see your website with such an extensive, you know, database exactly with that, because you're right. Most of the time, it is videos with flying.
The shock value. That's
shock value, exactly. Yeah. And you know, to have this library, so to say, of
wow.
We have a wind. My God!
Can you guys hear the wind blowing through the mic?
Is that what that was?
I heard something. I didn't know what it was.
We had wind here a couple hours ago.
So you don't think I'm getting too freaked out?
It freaked me so much because we're talking about it, and I know it's just the wind, but it's just the the branches in the window. Sorry. So yeah, just to have that library, I haven't seen that before. You know, because it's right. It's more about the shock value usually, but to have this extensive evidence, I would call it evidence because that's exactly what you're going there for. with all that background, and searchable by location. But like, I was so stunned. I don't know how much time I spent on the website, because it just, it's so interesting that you could look for all these things. It's I thought it was really unique way of doing it.
Well, what we like to do is we'll go to some place sometimes. Like, here's an example. Gettysburg. All right. We've been there 2 times, 3 times. I don't know.
Together, we've been there
multiple times.
3 times.
We're going back this summer. But Gettysburg, the entire town is haunted. Okay. There's places everywhere. But the train station where the Gettysburg train station, where Abraham Lincoln actually came to the town of Gettysburg
when he gave the Gettysburg Address.
Right. We've been scouring the internet and searching
talking to people who've been there
for paranormal claims, because we have the history of it and photos and all that stuff. We've been there, and I will not add it to the database unless I could find a paranormal claims. And we did find that at the Conneaut. That lady was supposed to send me
did she send it? I don't know if
no,
she sent it.
She never did. But she took a picture, and there was something in one of the windows. So a lot of those places, especially ones that we've been to, it's been like the reverse. Like, we've been to some place cool, and it's like, there's got to be paranormal claims to this place. There's got to be.
But there isn't.
Well, no, most of the time there is,
Not always, though, So, but sometimes it has such a historical relevance. And we're like, oh, I need to talk to people about this. And
now what the bad part is the ones that's ran by the National
Park Service.
Yeah. Most of those people don't even want to talk to paranormal, You go up and try to ask people questions. Yeah, have you seen anything? And whatever. And they're like, we don't want to talk paranormal. That's the bad part. Like Harper's Ferry. Okay, everyone knows Harper's Ferry has paranormal claims. There's stuff everywhere, right? It's ran by the National Park Service. They do not have a book on it at all in their bookstore. They don't want to talk about paranormal.
Yeah, they said, oh, we don't do that.
Yeah, we don't do that. But
yeah, that's interesting, really. Because there are people who do believe, and there are who doesn't.
Right. And if you want to read about it, you want to learn about it, great. If you don't buy that book.
Exactly. There was an interesting question from Tisra before about how information maybe influences the perception. And questioning if knowing the extensive history of the place or the events that were taking place somehow leads to more perceptive mind towards, receiving the energy, so to say, of the ghosts.
You would think. You would think. We've approached locations 2 different ways. Okay. We've gone to some locations where we've done a lot of research and a lot of, background, so we knew what happened there. And, I keep bringing up Lizzie Borden. Marianne teaches the Lizzie Borden case, so she knows it frontwards and backwards. And we've gone to these places and try to communicate. The video that I'm working on now for the Congress Plaza Hotel has reports of Al Capone himself being there, and entity on the fourth floor, somebody committed suicide, all that sort of stuff. We did that research before we went, and we tried to do EVP sessions and try to communicate, and nothing, but then we've gone to places and didn't do our research, and it's like, seriously, is that? And then I'll like Google, oh yeah, that's this place right here. Let's go in there, and we'll just go in cold, and we'll get something. So yeah, that there are people that take different approaches. They don't want to know what was going on and see if they get anything. We kind of like to do the research ahead of time, especially if we're going in an area. Now, the way we actually get to travel is we're off. Both of us are off the month of July. So we normally try to pick something with our vacation, to pick some sort of haunted locations or whatever to go to during our vacation. And then in the fall, either late October, early November, she has a national biology teacher conference that she goes to every year, and it's all over the country. So
yes, in different places every year.
Denver, Atlanta, Memphis. This year is going to be San Diego, which is going to be cool. So
it's a long haul for us, though.
Yeah, we try to take like an extra day and do something paranormal while we're in those locations. So that's how we've got to go to Dallas and Memphis and Anaheim, to the Long Beach, Queen Mary,
Estes Park, to
Estes
Stanley
Park.
Hotel.
When we were out in Denver, that's just like a 2-hour drive from Denver. That kind of stuff. And even Lizzie Borden, Fall River, that was
we went to we were in Providence, Rhode Island, and so we just hopped in a rental car and went over. And
and then during the summer in July, we just hop in a car and go somewhere.
That's great.
What is the place that you want to go, like that you really, really like expect something would be there, or you have
like a pinnacle destination?
Yeah, that you really like your bucket list paranormal activity place
that we haven't been to or go back to.
That you haven't been to.
I like to go to the Winchester House. I like to go to the Valencia Axe Murder House. Alcatraz. I think a lot of some of them that we're going to try to make happen this year, actually. And the funny thing is, we haven't been a lot of places that's close to us, like Trans-Allegheny. We haven't been there. It's only like 3 hours. I think we have Prospect Place that we haven't been there. We've been by it, but we haven't been there. So those kind of like local places, we're going to try to get those knocked out like soon. But the big one I think would be Winchester House. I'd love to go there. We've kind of like the Stanley Hotel. That was a big one for us. The Queen Mary was a big one. Lizzie Borden was a big one. The Murder Castle location that made her dreams come true.
Dream.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank
you. So I think those that I said, those would probably be at the top of our list, because I don't know how we would get there unless it was like her conference was close to it.
Right.
So that, like this, was it last? Yeah, it was last fall. We got to go to, we went to Lincoln's home, Lincoln's tomb in Springfield, Illinois, and we were in St. Louis. So we went to Limp Mansion and, that kind of stuff. So
Camaro Time says his would be the Titanic if they ever bring it up.
Oh, that would be cool.
They have brought up some pieces. They have a Titanic
too, where they build a second one.
Yes.
You can go on that.
Yeah, but they have brought up some pieces from the Titanic, and so you can go to there's different places. There's traveling exhibits, and you can go there, and it's really
they claim
cool.
That they're haunted.
Yes, they claim that those exhibits are haunted, but it's really cool to just be able to go and pick something up and go, oh, this was there. Granted, you can't pick it up; it's in a glass case, but just the whole idea of oh my gosh, that was down there for all those years. It's amazing. It's a really cool feeling.
I did a lot of traveling, in one place that really, I'm not saying like ghosts or whatever, but I've never really felt that much until I went to Auschwitz.
I can imagine.
That's something that I can't. I don't know. Like I don't want to pretend to be a believer. Like I said, I'm a skeptic.
Right.
But there's no way, and I know part of it's emotional. I know it plays on the mind. I know it's a whole bunch.
Uh-oh. We still have you? Please say hello.
The person before it said Ghost of YouTube said heck with this.
They
We
lost power.
Geeks said that they could still hear Panic D.
That's what they had.
Yeah, we can still hear all Panic D and see you. Okay, hi. So,
Oh yeah, because you're on there.
oh yeah, there I am. All right. So, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I feel bad for them. They said that
I
there were
know.
storms, so
I know. So, we could tell them a little bit about the Queen Mary. I don't know how long we're going to be
they
here.
want to hear about. Panic D, y'all just do the show. Well, should we open it? Should we open it like we open our shows?
Okay. Hey, Panic D, ever been to Lanterman's Mill? So if it's the
Lanterman's
Lanterman's Mill
Mill?
here in Youngstown, Ohio, the answer is yes. If it's from somewhere else, then no.
Lanterman's Mill here in Youngstown is literally about 6 minutes that way.
Mm-hmm.
We live in actually Mill Creek Park, and that's where Lanterman's Mill is.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been in there. It's a really cool facility. I love it. And they actually still run grain there. They do, yeah, they do buckwheat, and what's the other one that they do there? They do corn, I think. Queen Mary's cool. My mother traveled on that, but that's awesome. Bottle caps. All right. So, we did several investigations there. Not really investigations, but trips there. But we had done several of our treasure hunts there. So we have a treasure hunt that we do in our local area where we send them to different places in Mill Creek Park, which is where our Lanterman's Mill is. And they have to go down inside, down into the lower chambers of the mill and get a piece of information. And so, of course, we took lots of pictures there throughout the years. We did get one anomaly one time in a picture in Lanterman's Mill. It will disconnect eventually on its own. Okay, that's okay. We'll just stay until it does then, so that you guys can keep asking or whatever, or unless you want us to end something.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, we didn't get the ending. Oh, okay. So they grew up in Northeast Ohio, so it must be our Lanterman's Mill. We did get one anomaly picture in all the pictures we have taken there. We did get one.
The claim that Lanterman's Mill is that they see people in period clothing looking into the windows in the basement, which kind of makes sense because we actually seen a picture when the river was lower. Of people being out there by the falls,
mm-hmm.
Because this whole area, like in Mill Creek, was like there was a quarry here. Did I say it right? Quarry. Where they even the stone for Stambaugh Auditorium came from this area, and people used to vacation down there back in the day, and. Yeah, there must have been a death or something there at the falls, I would assume, that causes that haunting. And then you got the running water. There's the good potential for that.
Absolutely. So
power's back.
Oh, good. Excellent.
We kept the fire going for you. If we can somehow hook back up.
Okay.